Hello, hello. So yesterday, or whatever day that you're watching it, anyway, it's Georgianne with a slice of life, and I had made it to the west side of Gary, Indiana, right? And but somebody asked me, "What about your friends that were on the east side?" Very good point. Very good point. Today is a good day to talk about friends. Oh, I got some stories about friends. Anyway, so I had my friends on the east side. So that was Jeanette, the two Jeanettes, Jeanette Shivers, Jeanette Richardson, Armanice. I had Evelyn Phillips. I called her Phillips last time, and Regina Scott. I think that was it. If I missed somebody, I don't know what boys did we have. We had some. Oh, the Williams. They had all the Williams family, and then the Brackets, and it was maybe did John Fletcher live over there? I don't know, but anyway, so you asked me when I got to the east side, did I miss my friends? Well, listen, I didn't miss my friends because when I moved to the east side into the Tollerston area, the students who went to Tollerston, but I still went to Frable. So I still saw all my friends. And when I had parties in my basement, all those same friends would come to my parties. But I did find a friend over on the east side. Her name is Jennifer. And her name is Jennifer because she's still living. And she was Jennifer Poindexter, maybe. She was part of the Poindexter kids. Yeah. But anyway, we had a good time. So because I had friends during the week at school, and then on the weekend I had Jennifer, and then sometimes my stepfather would take me to Jeanette's house, and then her father would drive me back. Lord, what parents would do. Jeanette she lived in the Roosevelt area, Roosevelt High School. She lived across from Roosevelt High School. She still went to Frable. I lived 2 minutes from Tolleson High School, and I still went to Frable. I don't think you can do that now. But anyway, our fathers would drive us back and forth so we could see one another. And then I had Jennifer, who was my good friend. We used to have so much fun in the basement. When you by yourself, when I was a kid over on the west side, I danced with the refrigerator. You ever dance with the refrigerator? Y'all don't know nothing about dancing with the refrigerator. You take the refrigerator door, because we did the bop. They don't call it bop now. They got a new name, but whatever. Chicago people, we all learned the same. We could dance. Oh my God, we could dance. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't dance in Atlanta or in Memphis or, in Florida, but I know Chicago people could dance. And so you dance with the refrigerator. Anyway, when I got to the west side, I was older and I met Jennifer. And we would get in the basement and just dance and have so much fun. She had a basement in her house and I had a basement in my house. Did you have basements up north? Is that an up north thing? That's everything. It's just I'm trying to share my culture, my growing up, and maybe it was everywhere people had basements. I don't know, but we had basements because it was so cold up there. Oh Lord, that's why you couldn't get me out the south once I made it down south. Oh my God, I didn't know it was cold. I didn't know I was cold until I came south to Spelman. But anyway, I want to talk about having friends. Jennifer was my good friend, and we're still friends. And we had so much fun growing up. And she worked at the dairy. I didn't ask her, was the dairy maid? I should have had this figured out by now. But she also worked at the dairy maid, and had a boyfriend. Well, my mother let me have somebody to go to the prom with. If you're in Atlanta, there's a young man named Ernest Moore. I don't know if you know Ernest Moore from Gary, Indiana. He may say he's not from Gary. Maybe he's from wherever his mother was from. Maybe from Chicago, he wanted to say. I don't know. But his father lived across the street, Miss Brown's son. And so I could go to the prom with him, but that was about it. That was about as far as I can go. Let me just tell you how. Oh, I got to tell you. I'm sorry about that noise. I got to tell you the story. So I decided, you all didn't have this foolishness going on because you were probably very good kids. And so I should have moved the phone. I don't feel like getting up right now. Anyway, we decided that we would meet some boys at the movie. Don't you make that decision that you're going to meet some boys at the movie and you have a mother named Georgia Young. So we all going to the movie. We all walked down to the movie, and all the boys were in the movie. And we just had a good time. Not doing anything, just wanted to be in the movie with the boys. We leave the movie. They all gonna walk us home, but we kind of walking in a group. And somebody says, Georgianne, isn't that your mama? I'm thinking like we walking from the movie. I know my mother has not walked anywhere. My mother was walking down the street towards us. I was so embarrassed. My mother said, "Who told you that you gonna go to the movie with some boys?" Oh my God. Did she beat me right there? And she had, she was short. She had to whoop up. I was so embarrassed. I got teased. I didn't do that anymore. Do you all have stories like that where you just got, just stuff? Listen, let me tell you something. It's nothing like a black mother, is it? Oh, I shouldn't say that because it's nothing like a mother, really. But you all know it's that black mother, because she got that extra stuff. Just like me, I was a mother. It was something extra going on. I got all these sounds. I'm gonna finish the story, but we have extra stuff going on because we got to think about you black. You got a black child, black boy and a black girl. They got to get home safely, and they got to go to school, and you just have to train them differently than white kids. To just get up and have life, but black kids, you got to get up and have a talk on a regular basis and stuff. You just got to just, I don't know, just be lined up differently. So I'm gonna go ahead and say about a black mother. But anyway, I gotta tell you that was a story I had to tell. But anyway, Jennifer and I had a great time. I enjoyed her friendship. I had enjoyed it up until today. I miss my friends. I've seen some of them on Zoom. I'm so glad we have Zoom because you can see people now. But when you go back and think about your friends growing up, where are they now? Why were they your friends? What was the spirit that helped you along? You have to, all that helps you get to be the person you are today. It helped me be who I am and raise my daughter, help Jennifer be who she is. I mean, just and raise her daughter, just being in the basement, having fun and doing things that teenage girls do and talking about boys and telephone. Oh, listen, people who are young watching this, you don't know anything about a telephone. You think the cell phone is something, you need to have that phone where the cord is in one room and you got the phone all the way in, in your room. Kids don't know anything about a phone. You used to have a cord over there and you got to get the long cord. Well, hey, what you really don't know, the party line. Oh my God. You will get on the phone. You want to use the phone, you have to wait till the other people get off the phone. If you get on the phone and you say, "Miss Jones, I need to call blah, blah, blah," try saying that. Try saying that and see what happened. You better just wait until they finish. You waited till the people, you kept picking it up, putting it down, picking it up, putting it down. They would say, "Well, I guess they need to use the telephone." You see, I don't know how many people still living that know anything about a party line or even about a cord, a phone. I think my daughter's generation is the last ones. I don't know. But anyway, it was fun. Jennifer was fun, and growing up was fun. So by this time, it's time for me to go to college. And the night before, it was time for me to go to Spelman. I remember being at the Dairy Queen, and Kenny, I think that was his name. He played Georgia on My Mind in the little, oh, I didn't tell you, had a little you put money in the thing, and you had one at each counter. And Georgia was on there, and you played it over and over and over. It was a sad night, but I was glad to go. It was time to go to college. You just got to go. I thought I was going to Indiana University. My mother said, "I don't think so. Not going to happen." I went to Spelman, you're going to Spelman. My real father went to Morehouse. I told y'all that story. I think I told you the story. I'm not going to tell you anymore. Anyway, so I'm off to Spelman. Woo! That train ride and that white man and the colored and white signs. I needed all of it. I needed all of it because I really thought I was just a regular American. I did. I didn't put this on right. Y'all had to excuse me. I thought I was a regular American. Now, so what does that mean? I thought because I could go to Chicago, because we went to the museums, the Field Museum, because we would shop at, what's this store? Marshall Fields. We could go to Walgreens and chock full of nuts. What's the name of the little place in the Walgreens in the back? And eat a hot dog. I could go to Woolworths on Broadway and get me a hot dog and a drink. Then I had a few for 25 cents because I think the whole thing was 15 cents and I had 10 cents left over. I could go and buy me some, there was a little purple perfume in a little purple bottle. Do y'all, nobody remembers that perfume that was in a little purple bottle. Anyway, it was like 15 cents. Evening in Paris, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, and then I came down south, man, and none of that was happening. All that freedom I thought, all those white people I thought cared something about me, I had to fight. I had to join up with the Atlanta student movement. I had to listen to Dr. Herschel Shalinor, but she was Herschel Sullivan, president of the student council at Spelman. I had to go. I didn't even know. I was like, I can't go to get a hot dog. They said you have to go in the back door to get that. Have you ever been sent to the back door? Let me tell you one time, as an adult, I was sent to the back door. Now I have some Delta Airlines stories, but they won't let me fly anymore. They'll take my pension if I told all those. If I told about the prejudice that went on at Delta Airlines, I like this president. I like to sit down with this president in 2023, and tell him what happened back in 1979. He, you know, he'd probably say, so what? But, wow, it's a new Delta, and I like this Delta. We were family back then, but it was a fractured family. But anyway, oh my God, I forgot what I was going to tell you all about Delta Airlines. I forgot my point. But anyway, just coming to Spelman and not being able to go, the West End was Ku Klux Klan territory. So you didn't go out there. And isn't it amazing how the things change? Actually, the more they change, the more they stay the same. I think what's happening now. What's happening now. But I didn't go to the West End much. I just we had a place, you had to go to Yates and Milton, Black-owned pharmacy. Like I had, Mr. Cox was a Black-owned pharmacy. I didn't know that was a big deal. But I found out in the South what a big deal it was to be a Black-owned pharmacy. There was Tibbs, I think. Oh, don't get me started because I didn't grow up here in Atlanta. But I knew Yates and Milton was on the corner, and students went to the corner for what they wanted to eat and drink. I basically ate and drank on campus the whole 4 years. Well, I won't say that because I met my boyfriend who was at Clark. I met him through a Morehouse man. I thought he went to Morehouse. Anyway, it turned out he went to Clark College. And his mother, she could cook. Oh, my God. Anyway, so I would get some meals that way. But I basically stayed on campus because it was too difficult, except for when I was marching with my little flag. And you see this right here? What's my burn mark? I guess you can see where the man burned me. He burned me with a cigarette. I had my little placard. Why would you jump out of the line and burn me with a cigarette? What did you think I was going to do? Stop marching? Because you burned me with the cigarette? Now, if it were in Gary, my Gary, Indiana didn't come out. I was on my Spelman tip. So, and Dr. King said we should not respond. We should just let it go, whatever happened. They spat on us and, called us names. I never heard the N-word so much, I didn't. Wow, it was rough. It was rough for me. My mother didn't like me doing all that because she was afraid for me. She was afraid because, I stayed in trouble, running my mouth. And she didn't know whether or not I was just going to pop off and say something because I wasn't used to that environment. It was rough doing that. And I admired the Atlanta student movement and the other students who didn't have the privileges that I had. And I look back on it now and said, was I really privileged, or did they have to do it? Or did I come along right at the right time when the segregation in the North wasn't going to be as well known as it was in the South? I came through just when it split open enough just for me to come through, because I was a child of the 50s, you see, so I just made it through right when the doors opened. So in my mind, I was fine. And plus my stepfather believed that we were Americans always American first. I have a flag on my front door. I have a flag on my car. And I want to talk about that just a minute. I think Hannah Nicole Jones talks about, Nicole Hannah Jones talks about the flag that her father always had. We always had a flag. Let me tell you something. That's all I know is a flag. Did something just come up? All I know is a flag. That's the only flag I know. So I'm not getting ready to have another flag until you tell me that I'm not in this country anymore, because this is all I know. And so I'm going to put the flag where I want to put it. That flag doesn't mean that just because you got the flag doesn't mean that I can't have the flag. Now you wave it like this is my country, well, it's mine too. And if I get on a boat to go somewhere, you got to get on a boat with me, because the people who look like me actually were here first. So it's not we have adopted this country. We have adopted this country. So if I get on the boat, you say I'm gonna send you back. Well, I'm gonna make sure you got a berth on the same boat with me, because you were not here either. This is not your country by yourself. It's our country. Have you looked at the Mayans, what they look like? Have you looked at the Indian? Have you looked at the tribe that started California? You know, but I have some black on. I got on navy. They were as darker than this. Ink, black, dark, because all folks came from Africa. Did anybody tell anybody there were no white people on the earth for centuries? For centuries. I mean, it's just a matter of knowing history. That's all it is. And so I'm glad I went down to Spelman College, because I got a new history. I did. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about who I was. I learned a lot about my people. And I'm very grateful to this day that I'm a Spelman grad. Well, now it's even more. You know, now, trust me, I have said that there was this movement to make us more Vassar, if I could use that as an example. We were the Vassar of the South. You know, and we thought if we carried our bag properly, we wore our hat properly, we wore our hair properly, we spoke well, you know, we dressed well, that we would get more respect. Let me tell you, I shopped at Regenstein's. Y'all don't know nothing about Regenstein's. Ask your grandmama about Regenstein's. I don't know, Regenstein's was a Butte knit back then. I know, beautiful blue outfit. I wish I had it to this day. It was trimmed in something, something, something. I had my bag on my arm. I went up to Davidson's to buy something, but I remember having on this Regenstein outfit because I loved to wear their clothes. You know, teachers back then, no offense to teachers now, but you know, we had a different culture then. So black teachers had a different look. Maybe it was because of our culture. I don't know what it was, but we dressed, everything matched, nice shoes. We just tried to look like something that maybe the children would look up to. I don't know where all that came from. I'm just saying that's what we did. I took my happy self up to Davidson's to purchase something. In my everything, my proper speech, my bag, everything was correct. And this woman threw the money back at me. She threw, because back then, white people did not want to touch the money from a black hand. You could not give a white person money and they would take it out your hand. That would just be an insult. Like looking white people in the eyes. I remember being at Georgia State, right out of Spelman. I had to go get a provisional, something so I could teach school. And I went with one of my friends so we could sign up for this class at Georgia State. And the person whispered, she said, "Girl, you looking them white people in their eyes." What? I've been looking at white people all the way through high school. Where should I look? She said, "Girl, don't make them mad like that." What? Anyway, I had on all these nice things and the lady threw the money back at me. See, this is what white people don't understand, man. They don't understand how we have endured, how somebody my age has made it this far. And while we are wondering, all that marching and the burn and all that, what was it for? Look what's happening now. I will be 81 next week. 81. I didn't get that tape though. I want that tape. I don't know. I'm gonna get me something. By next week, I'm gonna have me something. For my 81st birthday, I'm gonna find me, I know it's some tape you can buy, just hold it back. Anyway, it's a daily. You're black daily. You're not black sometimes. You're black daily. I have friends who say, if I was a white girl, look how much money we would have. Look what happened out there in Tulsa. They got Black Wall Street wiped out. We haven't come back from that since, but I think we are. Pay attention to what's happening. I was glad I went to Spelman. I was glad to be the 10, I think it was 10 of us from the north, maybe 8 or 10 from the north. We had one that flew in on an airplane. I came on a train. I didn't even know you could fly in from somewhere. But I had one. The girl from Philly, I think, because people from Philly flew in on an airplane. But we flew in I came in on a train. And that's how it all started, because you had to write the school and say how you were arriving and on what train and whatnot. And they would send a Spelman upperclassman to meet you. And the upperclassman was late. And that's how I didn't make it to Spelman, because all I saw was a white man mopping the floor. I need to ask him how to get to Spelman. That's all. I just needed information. I didn't know I couldn't talk to white people. Can you imagine not being able to talk to the same people who sign your papers in high school, your counselor, Mrs. Kowalski? Y'all remember Miss Kowalski? Right. It was just confusing to me. But it was the best thing that happened to me was come down south. Whew. I mean, you remember the Betsy Riley featured me as one of the people in the January 2020 issue of Atlanta magazine. And I talk about it was green all the time. I had a beautiful home. But down here, they had homes like everywhere for black people. And grass, lots of grass and trees, and it was green all the time. And it was just a sophisticated, maybe because there were so many schools here. The Atlanta University Center was here. I don't know, I just fell in love with this city. They've been stuck with me. Couldn't win an election, couldn't even buy one. I didn't have the money to buy one. That's a whole nother story, but coming down here was the best thing that ever happened to me. One of the best things was to come to Spelman College and be a part of the Atlanta University Center. So I want to talk about my friend Jennifer today, and I got us off the east side to the west side, and I talk a little bit about Spelman, some of the things that happened, and then we'll go from there to trying to get up to 81. I don't know if 81 is next week. So I don't know if I'll make it, like in terms of getting it all done by the end. I got to do some piano today. Let me tell you something. I thought I was doing something with my chords. This is just heaven to me. I know all my people who can play. This is heaven to me. This is heaven to me. And this is heaven to me. And I am so happy. This is like the fun thing for me to do. Just a fun thing for me to do. I just want to share that with you because my brother bought me a keyboard. I love you guys. You don't have to watch how I smile. I had teeth. The chemo said, this last chemo, I told you I brought it home. Chemo said, you're not going to have any gums. You're not going to have any hair. You're not going to have much sight over here. I'm going to see how many other things I could just mess up for you. Really? Man, y'all just don't know. I'm so happy to be here. I don't know what to do. All right, a slice of life. I see you in a few minutes.